It's possible I'm going through a major YouTube conniption. I have to put on my special YouTube hat uh, because I haven't posted very much lately, but this is going to be very critical. I'm going to warn people. This is probably going to be very critical of what I've been talking about in my YouTubes quite often, about an inner world and an outer world, and YouTube is all about the outer world. I mean, I'm finding absolutely nothing anymore other than good music, other than the good music that artists produce every now and then, the classics. I love classical music. I love Scarlatti. I've been listening to Scarlatti, his piano work. It's just fabulous, phenomenal. It's so simple and straightforward. It's gorgeous. People, I highly recommend Scarlatti. One of the other suspects I go to, the go-to suspects, like behind me, the target characters. I'm preparing a show, and these are portraits, a portion of the show about I call the target IDs, and these are the people, the usual suspects that always keep us in the headlights, And this is somewhat critical because I suppose, I don't know, it's kind of like, you know, how we live our lives as an almost knee-jerk sort of non-thinking. We go to stuff, we look at stuff, we research things, we feel we're so in touch with the world. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the Epstein fiasco, the story, the narratives that are being spun in mainstream and alternate and medium and intermediary streams. I don't know what streams. Better put on your goddamn YouTube hat to get you know, to get insight into the meaning of the universe. And I'm just sort of, I honestly, people, I'm blown away by the stories that are being propagated and investigated with integral people, like people that truly feel, and I give them the benefit of the doubt that they're truly believing in what it is that they're researching and doing and getting to the bottom of it and reporting to you back, going back to you and reporting back to you what the meaning is behind incidents like Epstein dead. Epstein is dead. And the reason he's dead is because somebody wanted him dead. It's like if it was he wanted himself dead or somebody else wanted him, he's dead. He's dead. This fucker was responsible for enormous suffering. This is more important to me. This son of a bitch, this disgusting human being on the planet was responsible for more suffering. Like many of the other usual suspects were responsible for our suffering. And they'll come out of the most unsuspecting places. You'll find people that contribute to this distraction. The distraction. You need your YouTube hat to sort out the distractions. So I think I'll just do a brief little thing on this, like listening to people like the Conte, Marcus Conte, and Stefan Molyneux, and the Quantum of Conscience. Actually, he hasn't brought up Epstein. That's kind of interesting. All the other people that are very involved in finding the meaning, the truth behind something. I suppose I'm kind of ranting here and finding it quite debilitating on some level to go back to this medium that I'm on. You could probably say, well, why the hell are you on this medium? Good point. That's a valid point. Some people are actually addicted to YouTube. Have you ever thought about that? People post every day, every hour, many, many times because it's a kind of addiction. I'm weaning myself. I've done very few, relatively speaking, to what I was talking about. The most monumental event in the history of monumentality is the Fukushima disaster, where nuclear reactors blew up and are releasing continuously radiation into our environment. That's the real world. The environment is the real world, people. What you eat, what you drink, what you breathe, that's the real world. It's not fucking Epstein. It's pathetic. It's horrible. Now, Epstein did contribute to our suffering on a huge level. And when I say our suffering, not me personally, but as long as a person, a vulnerable person, an innocent child, is being abused because they're vulnerable, this is enormous suffering to all of us who have a conscience, who are people who are connected to each other in some form or other. Listening or hearing about somebody having a bad turn, having enormous life difficulties and coping with life because some prick fucker bastard abused them in some way. This is troubling beyond imagination. If you're connected, this is really, really hurtful. This is terrible. I feel for the people that suffer. Even though I don't know them, I know this bastard has done this. So now they're saying to themselves, well, we're dissecting how the nefarious bunch, the Akhenatans of this planet, are undermining us in the subterfuge that they're going to tell us stories about this Epstein character. But the fact is, he was a despicable, low-life human being on the planet, like a lot of the others that fit into his category of low-life. What else can be said? Yeah, he died, he didn't die, he was most likely absconded with. He had his controllers come in and rescue him maybe, or maybe they dumped him. Maybe they actually dumped him. That could be too, because there is no loyalty among this type of self-gratifying individual that exists out there. My point is, it's very frustrating to see something as epic as Fukushima unfolding every day, and people are continuously preoccupied with the hangnail on their finger. And I'm not saying what this individual contributed to the downfall of what it means to be human. This is a clear and present danger. People like this Epstein guy is a clear and present danger, but he's just the tip of what is going on underneath, what I call the culture of death. I refer to this all the time. And even people that are appearing to be of value to us really are not. They're contributing to, on a scale that's exponential, from whatever, from your local supermarket mom who abuses her innocent child for fidgeting in line when she can't take it anymore, and she lets it out against an innocent being, rather than sitting down or having a conversation and talking and showing that person that you care, that you love them, rather than scalding them and kicking the shit out of them, whatever. From that kind of a person to the Epstein, Bush, the clans that are running the planet, the extreme dysfunction, the people that create this extreme dysfunction on our planet. You got to wear your sensitivity hat to kind of pick up on this stuff, right? So I'm just gonna I thought I'd just make a comment about this and say once again, here's our solution, people. Here's our solution. It's not a matter of coming up with the truth behind anything or the facts. Is that you find a way, I find a way in my life to live that which is meaningful to me, and fundamentally meaningful in terms of me becoming a better person in some way or other. And quite often, that is related to how I treat other people in an immediate way. Unless you're living on a rock by yourself in the wilderness, nowhere, mind you, you can still show that appreciation with the life that is around you. You're not ever by yourself. There's always a context for our existence within whatever it is that we're existing within. It's a mystery, and life is teeming everywhere, threatened, both on the level of human threatening, like on the level that you and I experience, like I say, food, air, water, the things that are meaningful and important to our sustenance, right down to the psychological, emotional, spiritual level of our existence, which is far greater if you're actually someone who is on board with the idea that the mystery is beyond what our physical experience may be, then this could be very important to your reflection and consideration, that we are actually part of something that is much greater than our physical circumstance. But it is important to take care of ourselves and each other. It's very important, and it is related to, I'm convinced it's related to a level of our existence that will continue. What I've mentioned before, the idea of eternity, I love the idea of eternity. It's something that ruminates. It's not something I can prove, other than the fact that this mystery is so amazing. When you think about, I was just listening to Molyneux discuss Epstein's physical demise and some throat bone being fractured, and he can't have been hanging. He had to be strangled and all these kind of things. Well, what's more interesting to me is the physiology that's in play. What designed this amazing structure that we are privileged to be, that we have at our disposal to do something with? What am I going to do with this thing that has been given to me? This is of real interest to me. I have to say, this is quite phenomenal. I'm enervated. I'm energized by the idea of what it is that makes me me, that I want to make paintings. I want to express something of value, of understanding about myself while I have the time, while I'm here. This is of real importance. I'm no longer entertained or gratified by any of the presentations for the most part, other than I feel that I'm connected to people that transmit the sense of self in terms of their true caring, not in terms of their intellect telling you that they care, but their true caring. How do you transmit that? You give somebody a hug. You tell them you care. You tell them you love them. And there are some people out there that I've come across that actually are capable of doing that, but fewer and fewer. It's probably, if there is, let's say, 100 million YouTube presenters, you might have 10. That's how severe this dysfunction is on this platform as well. I just think I want to make this clear. And people that listen to me, like myself, actually I'm more prone to put on a good piece of music than listening to anybody on YouTube anymore, because it's part of the subterfuge. It's starting to get so excessively exposed on how it is that they're trying to form this platform, is trying to form our mental processes. And I mean, people of goodwill, like this Molyneux guy, I can't imagine that he's not integral. But wow, what an epiphany he could have. I'd love to have a talk or conversation with him about this. I believe he could have quite an epiphany, and his posts, his philosophical positions would change radically. Maybe not in terms of people observing him, but within himself, it would change radically. So, okay, I'll just leave it here. I've been a little bit silent over the last few months relative to what I used to post, but I'm no longer like some people. I think I had an addiction to being entertained by everything, even those monumental epic events like Fukushima. There was an insidious part in this where people pay attention to it that creates a sense of surrogate self. Like it's meaningful. It's important, but nothing ever changes in your life, right? That sort of feeling. My life actually did change dramatically after Fukushima. In fact, in my relationships, I have very few relationships left, which indicates that you are on the level when you're actually living that which you espouse out into the public, when you make statements, and you're no longer getting people to listen to you, like, I mean, personally, not on this not on YouTube, but like personally. And I almost, uh, there was a point at which it was very difficult to sustain my relationship with my partner for a period of time, where I realized this was way beyond um, a change that I wanted. I didn't want this change to go into that direction. So I altered it. I observed, I saw it. And I think it's important that when we are confronted with the enormous challenges that we actually do have, to uh, to err, is err the right word, or to gravitate toward the inner part of ourselves rather than the external world and seeing how horrible and brutal it is, because nothing will change unless we change ourselves. That's my position, and it's firsthand knowledge. Nothing will change unless I change myself, and I change myself in terms of my own activities as a painter. I make paintings, so I can see it very directly in my paintings. By the way, this show is not from recently. This is from 2005 or 6, quite a while back. It's never been shown. I'm preparing it for a show. Um, so yeah, you never know when something starts to resonate in people, and it, even for me, it's becoming real again. It's becoming real. My feelings that I was expressing when I was painting this. So I just want to I want to shout out to all the people that have this connection to what it is we're experiencing. It has to come from a connection from within rather than just from an intellectual understanding about what it is that's happening out there. And I'm in no way disparaging people that have understood the serious challenge we're in, but I'm just reminding, I'm just somebody who reminds those who are willing to listen that it comes from an inner change. The world out there will never change unless we change within ourselves. So yeah, this Epstein story is a farce. It's a farce from the point of view that all the focus and concentration is on the story that's being spun of what it is we're supposed to know, and YouTube loves it. The oligarchs love it. Akhenaten is like, wherever he is in his grave or in eternity, like if that continues, there is a joy, there's a pleasure at hearing people talk about the subterfuge behind all this, all these events, all this Epstein event, and the people that suffered because of him are just on the sidelines, right? They're just on the sidelines. Yeah. Well, I guess I had my YouTube epiphany. Look at that. Look at that. Fabulous. Fabulous. I'm taking in the vibrations from the ethers, whatever that is, the dome that we're sitting under. It's like